Good morning, and welcome to Facebook Live. Hello, Hannah. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are live from the SDI, the PFI, and our general YouTube channel, SDI and PFI Facebook pages, sorry. So if you are not viewing from one of those pages, come on over to the SDI or the PFI Facebook page and leave us a comment and tell us where you are from. And also tag some friends to join us because we're gonna have a good conversation. But while we wait for people to join us, I lost Hannah. I was just going to ask her while we wait for people to join us to tell us about some events that she is planning. Oh, here she is. Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. Hi, Hannah. We lost you.
Hello, sorry.
No worries. So while we wait for people to tune in, I heard that you're planning some awesome events in the future. Care to tell us about them?
Yeah, so we've got a couple of bits and pieces coming up to celebrate the fact that we've got loads of new centres on the island this year, and obviously give some of the existing centres that have obviously, just like everyone else, had a bit of a tough time over COVID, something to look forward to at the end of a season. So we've got a boat bash running probably back end of November. We're just finalising dates with the vendors and stuff at the moment, and some local sponsorship, which will basically be for all of our members and centres within Cyprus and Greece to come and basically have fun with us for the day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it'll be great. So everyone will get a chance to get together. It's very easy to get caught up in go. Let's all work.
Totally.
Work. Absolutely. So we're going to run a big boat out to the Zenobia wreck off of Cyprus. We're going to have some scuba Olympic game type things, some prize giveaways, which obviously HQ have helped us out with sort of some merch. Everyone loves a bit of merch. Some codes. The centres will be able to bring their flags and stuff down and advertise themselves. The Cyprus Tourism Board will also be there with some local news media to help advertise the event. And all the sort of refreshment bits and pieces is all being run by local businesses, which is great. So, yeah.
That is awesome. What a huge benefit of being one of your members there in Cyprus and Greece. I mean, I want to come.
I know, right? Well, this is what we wanted to have a big party, so we just figured we'd invite everyone and do it all together at the same time. So.
I love it. That's awesome. Well, now that we've kind of let people join, hi Dylan from Belgium. So glad to have you here. I'm just going to introduce myself and then I will let you introduce yourself, Hannah, and we'll go from there. So if you don't know me, I am Brittany Bozick. I am your friendly content manager here at International Training. Any social post, newsletter, or blog that you see is my responsibility. So that means if you have an idea for some content, send me an email at marketing@tdisdi.com. Today, I am joined by Hannah Baker. She is the representative of our Cyprus and Greece regional office. She's here to tell us more about where to dive in Cyprus and Greece, as well as the status of her region with COVID. But before we get to that, Hannah, please introduce yourself to the people of Facebook.
So hi there, my name's Hannah. I am the current regional manager in Cyprus and Greece for SDI TDI. And we're our regional office is based in Larnaca in Cyprus. I've been with you guys now for about a year. So slowly learning bits and pieces myself. But yes, I am very happy to have now moved over to international training. It's a large family that I'm now happy to be a part of. So yeah.
Awesome. That kind of leads us into like one of the questions on our interview here. And how did you come to international training?
Oh, okay. So I was originally with obviously another agency, and after looking at how the agency maybe treated its members throughout obviously the COVID situation and various other things, it was very clear that maybe they had other agendas potentially. Whereas you look at how international training sort of supported its members through quite a difficult period, and what was on offer as part of a crossover package, it was extremely attractive, and there were really many reasons not to. The e-learning materials are a much higher quality, much more up to date, much more user friendly, and the representatives were all very easy to speak to. All of them were offering a wealth of support very quickly without having to wait for long periods of time. And the standards and bits and pieces all made a lot more sense. It was a little bit more instructor and pro friendly as well, which was nice to see. So yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, we really pride ourselves on being easy to talk to, and like you can pick up the phone and call us anytime. So that is really great feedback to hear. So let's back up a little bit. Where exactly are you located, and what areas do you service?
Sure. So the regional office itself is in Larnaca in Cyprus. So there's sort of 3 or 4 main towns within Cyprus. Larnaca and Paphos are the 2 ones that generally people will know because that's where the airports are. And the regional office is very lucky to have a front row view to the Zenobia wreck, which is about 500 meters outside of our front door. So it's also our house reef, which is pretty awesome. We look after multiple centres that cover all of Cyprus. Greece is a little bit more tricky at the moment because of their current laws around introducing other agencies into that area. However, we do support members that are based within Greece and offer them support and how they can still use their qualifications with us or train with us. We cover Cyprus itself is actually quite a small island, but it's a very scuba heavy island because of the wreck that's right out in front of us. It also offers very clear, calm waters as well. So there's a lot of potential for both diving, free diving. There is also public safety diving that goes on here as well. So we're in quite a prime spot to help support all of our members. We can get to see all of our members in about an hour and a half to 3 hours, absolute maximum on the other side of the island. We're fairly accessible to most people, which is quite cool.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Eduardo commented a little bit ago. He said, I want to dive in Greece. Eduardo, go to Greece. Yeah. And now we have Mark Powell saying that he loves how do you say that? Zenobia. Zenobia. And he can't wait to get back out to Cyprus to dive her again.
It's rated as one of the top 10 wrecks in the world. So that's one of the biggest draws that brings people out to Cyprus. Pretty much every one of our centres, if you look at any of our centres, web pages or bits and pieces, will shout about the Zenobia. It's absolutely huge, and it sits in about 40 meters of water, and it starts at about 18 meters. So it's accessible to everyone from recreation all the way through to tech, and it's 500 meters offshore. So there isn't many places in the world where you haven't got to travel miles and miles offshore to get a decent wreck. And because of the size of it, the sort of penetration possibilities inside are pretty incredible as well. So yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. So that kind of leads us into what other type of tourist attractions do you guys got going on there in Cyprus and Greece?
Well, very recently, which I think we'll probably be seeing an article with you guys soon. We've just opened, not me personally, unfortunately, Musan Underwater Architectural Museum, which was opened about a month or so ago by an artist called Jason. I can't pronounce his name. Jason something or another.
I can't either.
He's done multiple projects across the world. I think he's done one in Mexico and the Canary Islands and various other places where he's created these underwater sculpture parks to try and encourage natural marine life back to the area. And he's been working on the project here for about 3 years now, and it launched in July. And it's based on this kind of underwater forest, which is sort of merged with a digital age. So there's like sculptures of kids with video cameras, but there's these huge, great big trees and vines and stuff as well. It's really pretty, actually. I mean, I think you've seen the pictures, Brittany.
The photos are incredible, and I'm not going to show any because I'm just going to tease it for everyone. Keep your eye on the blog to see the photos of this underwater museum, because they, like I said, they're incredible.
Yeah, I mean, they've put it in a place where it gets the sun most of the day, and because it's only in, I think it's about 10, 12 meters water, most of it, the sunlight to it looks absolutely incredible. Because the water's so clear, it's a lovely dive. It's they've set it up as like a walk through a park, so you have to swim through it a sort of certain way, so you get the full effect.
Oh, how cool!
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's so cool.
For us here, that was a really, really big deal, because I mean, anyone that's sort of dived in the Mediterranean will know that there's a lot of the Mediterranean that's been eaten.
Okay.
So the marine life isn't, Red Sea is what I would say, but there's a lot of projects going on at the moment to change that. So a lot of the dive sites are protected for that very reason. Like the Zenobia is protected. Same with this sculpture park, it will be exactly the same thing. And I think there is becoming a newfound respect for keeping marine life where it should be. So we are starting to see quite large increases in some of our other sites of marine life coming back as well, which is great. So
yeah, I think there's been a slew of documentaries over the last couple of years that have really shined an amazing light on how important marine life is and how much damage we as humans have enacted upon marine life, and how we need to step up and change. So I'm happy to hear that as well.
I think everyone noticed, we certainly saw it here, was what was bizarre over COVID, where there was no one diving, there was no one in the water, there was no boats. The volume of marine life that came back in such a short space of time was just incredible. So it can be done.
I think on one of the streaming platforms, I believe it's Apple Plus. Don't quote me on that. Anyways, I'll put a link to it in the comments somewhere. There is a documentary that talks exactly about that. It's like a year without humans or something along those lines. And it's just filming all around the world of like wildlife in the year where like the world shut down. And it's amazing to see all of this wildlife just like coming out. Like there were like all kinds of animals on highways and like bears doing their things. Like it's been a while since I watched it, but A+, 10 out of 10 recommend if you have not seen that. So all right, tell us more about like what's going on in Cyprus and Greece as far as COVID. Are you guys open for visitors? What does that look like?
So in the last 6 weeks, it's really, really picked up. We're quite busy at the moment, as you can see by my very sunburnt face. Spending a lot of time out in the sun. The travel is now fairly easy here. I mean, if you're double vaccinated, pretty much from any vaccine, I think it is now. I think they've changed that in the last week or so. You can pretty much come and go as you please. If you're not double vaccinated, then usually you're required to have sort of a PCR test on arrival, and you have to self-isolate before you then go out and about. But your results are back usually within 3 hours, which is very good. And the cost of the PCR is actually very low. I think it's about 16 euros, which is dollars or something to the other part of the world. So it's not expensive. It just depends on where you're flying back to, which is causing most people the problems as to whether they're going back to a country where there is, more significant restrictions. At the moment, the UK is starting to open up. We're starting to see an increase in traffic from the UK, which is great, because I think they've recently changed their restrictions, which makes it easier for people to travel back home. But most of Europe now is coming in and out without much of a problem at all. And we have people from the States here this week as well. So good. Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
It's becoming easier, definitely.
Good. I'm glad to hear that it's becoming easier. So you guys are open for visitors. Go to Cyprus and Greece if you so choose to travel right now.
It's fairly easy to be about as well. Like you're not required to have a mask on outside, thankfully, because it's 38 degrees. You're not required to have a mask on outside. It's more if you go into a shop. For those in Europe, having something called the Safe Pass, which is now it's sort of the European accepted standard, which is basically like a QR code that everyone gets once they've been vaccinated or have tested positive within a certain period of time. That Safe Pass will get you in to do pretty much anything you want to do. It's pretty hard to get around and do anything without one. So,
okay, good to know. Okay, so we kind of already talked about the must-dive locations, the Musa Museum and the
the Zenobia, yeah.
Zenobia. I can't reading, pronouncing words, they're hard, all of them. Are there any other must-dive locations in the Cyprus and Greece area?
So depending on which end of the island that people are visiting, so if you're more down in the Paphos end, up there, you've got some lovely shore diving sites that are based off of Paphos. One in particular that sticks out is called the Jubilee Shoals. So that starts at around 5-10 meters and then goes quite deep. So it's got quite a large range for people that are wanting to do maybe open water or a little bit more complicated. We've got a few wrecks within Limassol where our Limassol centres are. Not quite the size of the Zenobia, but decent enough dives. They're sort of little tugboats or little fishing boat things that have been sunk out there. And then down in Proteras, which is the opposite end of the island, it's known for its sea caves and bits and pieces. So that's also where the Mustang Museum is. You've got some quite pretty underwater architecture up there that creates a lot of the dive sites. So you've got places like Green Bay, tunnels and caves. These are all shore-based dive sites that have very, very clear visibility, fairly good marine life, and the underwater architecture is quite incredible as well.
Nice. That's awesome. So a little bit of everything out there, which is awesome. So let's talk about non-diving activities in the Cyprus and Greece region. What tourist attractions do you guys have, if any?
So it's a fairly historical island. So there is a lot of the old little villages that are based up in what we call the Troodos Mountains, and even outside of that are the sort of quintessential Cyprus, Greece little villages that, little shops, little taverns, that kind of stuff with some very, very good food. You've got Mount Olympus on Cyprus as well, which is a nice little hike or trek for anyone feeling a little bit more ambitious. Yeah, absolutely. Maybe not quite now in the middle of the summer, but it is there.
Yeah.
You've also got an awful lot of vineyards here as well for things like wine tasting. And obviously it is the home of the halloumi cheese as well. So they make lots of halloumi cheese and bits and pieces here. So food and drink is always a winner in Cyprus, definitely. Lots of lovely beaches, particularly over in the north of Cyprus, some very pretty areas. And there's a lot of historical sites in most of the towns because it's got a lot of history behind it. Forts, there's aqueducts in a fair few of the towns as well, which are quite pretty. And for those that aren't necessarily more of the historical, there is lovely beaches to get improve your tan if that's more your bag.
You just want to relax and chill.
Absolutely,
yeah. That's awesome. So what I'm hearing is that Cyprus is a great, well-rounded vacation spot to go dive and eat and drink and see some history and all of those kind of great things.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah. Cool. So last question. What is your favorite thing about where you live?
What's the favorite thing about where I live? It's probably the atmosphere that's here. What I like about the Cypriots in particular is they do this thing where, and we have this with some of our centres that are owned by Cypriots. They'll go, "Oh, Hannah, come and join me for a cup of coffee." And it took me about 2-3 months to twig on that if you say, yes, okay, I'm going to come and join you for a cup of coffee, you lose the rest of your day. Like they are they're very good at enjoying their life, which means that, they invite you out for dinner or they invite you out for a cup of coffee, or even if to invite you out for a dive, it becomes this like entire day event. But it means they enjoy what they do. So rather than inhaling a cup of coffee and carrying on with what it is that they're supposed to be doing, they sit there, they chill out, they chat a little bit, they enjoy the view, and they let the world go by. So that's quite a nice atmosphere to live in when you're living with people that like to enjoy all the little things that life has to offer. So.
Yeah, totally. I love that. Just like, it's so funny because I was actually reading a book last night. And in the book, the author was talking about, the people who enjoy life are the people who prioritize enjoying life.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like that's what the people in Cyprus
They're
are
very
doing.
good at that. Yeah. They're the sort of people on a Friday, they'll walk into the regional office and they'll be like, oh, we're going for a barbecue on the beach. Come and join us. And you're like, okay, why not? Why not? I'll come and join you. Which is awesome. Nice. It's a quite nice existence, and it means everyone gets on quite nicely as a result. If you can't fix something over a meal or a cup of coffee here, then something's gone very, very wrong. So
a really awesome community vibe.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, Hannah. Well, any last, I don't know, anecdotes you want to give to the people of Facebook and YouTubes?
No, I mean, for someone that's looking maybe for something that's all round, where it's perfect for the introductory level guys, and it's also perfect for those looking for a more technical experience. It can offer for both of those things. I mean, open water divers, it's got the perfect atmosphere here, but for those looking to do a little bit more rusty wreck exploration, it's got all of that as well. And the weather's pretty decent, so that's always a bonus. So.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I guess I got to add Cyprus and Greece to my travel list.
Absolutely.
Someday when the world is not so crazy, hopefully. But thank you so much for joining us. And I hope that everyone learned a little bit about Cyprus and Greece and also wants to add Cyprus and Greece to their travel list. So have a great day, everyone. Hannah, thank you again. And
no problem. Thank you.
Have a great day as well.
Thank you, Brittany. See you later.